Favorite being. Okay, there it is. Okay, so we're now recording. Thank you for being patient with me because it has been a few months. The next order of business on the agenda is to review the membership. That is why I had people, as they came in, mention who they are and what school or position they're representing. Does anybody see a position that we are missing so that we can try to get that filled? Here's what we should have. We should have the provost. As I mentioned, she's not here today, but I believe her proxy is. Jennifer, you're here, right?
I am here, yes.
Okay, good. The Caleb, the one dean, I believe that was Dr. Kramer. Dr. Kramer's here. Missing Dr. Kramer's. Supposed to have somebody from advising and career services. Is Cassandra Woods here?
She no longer works here, Chris. I think that Tamia Tucker is on the call. She's the new director of advising.
Okay, then that will work. Sam Davis from Financial Aid. I see Sam is in the chat, so yes.
I'm here. Yep.
Okay, we have 3 chairs or program directors. David Carpenter. David Carpenter here. Okay. How about Marshana Conley? April, I saw, was here. And then our school representatives are supposed to be from Fine Arts and Social Sciences, Cami Hicks and Leslie O'Malley. And we have 1 vacancy. Okay. I see that about Marshana, so we'll need to have that position filled. From Science, Mathematics, and Allied Health, we're supposed to have Shannon Birchfield, Deborah Desjardins, and myself.
Well, Desjardins here.
Okay. And from Technical and Professional Studies, Danny Martin, Catherine McCormick, and Nicholas Spear.
Danny's retired.
Okay, so we'll need to have that position filled. So it looks like we've got 1 vacancy in Fine Arts and Social Sciences, 1 vacancy in Technical and Professional Studies. We're going to need someone from a chair or dean from the school, or I guess a chair or program director from the school that houses surgical technology. And I think that's it. We've either got somebody who was part of the committee who is a representative still, or we've had the other positions filled by somebody new. If you are new, if you could email me your name and your position so I can get the LibGuides information updated. Okay. Do I have any discussion over the membership? If not, we'll move on to the next order of business, which is to review, revise, and approve the charter. Dr. DePro emailed me earlier this week, and we talked about some possible changes to the charter. Let me bring up her email real quick. And what she wanted to have us do as we looked at the charter, and I will try to bring up a copy of the charter in just a moment, is first to review the goals that are associated with the charter and also, well, that's the big thing about the charter, is to review the goals that are associated with the charter. So we'll do that in just a moment. As I said, I will bring up a copy of the charter so we can take a look at that. By the way, the charter is at our site on the LibGuide, so you can always go and review it whenever you want. And hopefully I will have any revisions that we make up to it by the end of the month on the LibGuides. Let me bring that up real quick. Okay, does everybody see the charter up on your screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. I'll skip through a good portion of this, mainly about our membership. Here are our duties. Support the chief academic officer, review academic program proposals, make recommendations, assume compliance with established procedures, structure and approval requirements, assist the college in making coordinated decisions for program development, ensure appropriate consistency and due diligence in designing and presenting new programs, clarify institutional procedures that govern internal and external approvals, monitor changes in format of delivery and programmatic changes, that word's too long, which have implications for one or more other programs across the college, establish program viability review, support the effective implementation of the program viability review, conduct comprehensive review and validation of all institutional programs, provide regular reports and submit action items to the SAAC, make recommendations to Planning and Budget Council, and accept any request reports from other areas of the college on any issues affecting the committee's work. Does anybody see anything right offhand that we could adjust with our current duties? If not, and we can still take a little bit of time here, but if not, do I have a motion to accept the duties as they are in the current charter? Oh yeah, uh, Jennifer, thank you. I will be going back to that in just a moment. Okay, I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
If you would type, if you're making a motion or if you're making a second, go ahead and type that in chat to make it a little bit easier for the recorder. That way we can go back and make sure we know who made the motion and who made the second. Thank you. All right. We have a motion and a second to accept the duties as they currently are in the charter. Please say yay for if you approve of the current duties, nay if you would like to open discussion for possible revisions to the duties. In the opinion of the chair, the yeas have it, and we will be keeping the duties as listed on the current charter. Okay, I do need to go back very briefly to the membership. Jennifer did mention we technically do not have a division or department of institutional effectiveness anymore. So while we do have while we will have a representative for something equivalent to it, it will not be institutional effectiveness. Jennifer, if you would, what would be the appropriate name of that division or department now?
It's the Department of Institutional Research.
Institutional research. Okay.
Yeah, it's a minor change. We're just trying to fix that across all of our documents.
Right. I still want to go ahead and have a motion to make that change in a second. Can I get that, please, in chat? I have a motion. Do I have a second? All right. We will now vote on changing the name from institutional effectiveness to what was it? Institutional research.
Yes, sir, that's correct.
All right. And if somebody would please email me that, make sure I actually name it the right thing if we approve it. Yay if you are agree to the change, nay if you do not. In the opinion of the chair, the yeas have it, and we will make that change to the charter. I will try to get that change in on LibGuides later this week.
Sent you an email with the name, sir.
Yes, please. Just to make sure I get it right and we don't have to do this all over again because I misnamed the division or department. Right, the next part of the charter that we can go over are the boundaries. Committee input is related to defined purpose and may be strategic, operational, or improvement focused in nature. The Chancellor and Board of Trustees are the final authority for matters involving the strategic plan, board policy, and budget. The Chancellor reserves final decision-making authority for operational matters. Recommendations should not be counter to any accreditation standards or other external compliance or regulatory expectations. Recommendations for changes or additions to any formally adopted policies and procedures will go through the appropriate review and approval structures. I don't think we really have any latitude in changing boundaries. I think those are really set outside of us. I did want to go over them really quickly. Operating guidelines. Here I have a possible change that I'd like to put up. Under the general guidelines, we have annually reviewed charter. We have to do that. Annually staff and train members on effective and efficient meeting practices using quality tools. Annually select chair and recorder if needed. And here is the thing that I would maybe like to make a revision on. I would like to make a revision that we require an annual election of chair at least. Do I have a motion to open discussion on that? All right, do I have a motion to? Oh, okay. Okay, do I have a second? All right. Please vote yay if you approve of the motion to annually select a chair and to change the wording there to require an annual election of chair. Nay if you do not. In the opinion of the chair, the yeas have it, and I will make that adjustment to the charter. The next item I would like to open for discussion or vote is whether we should require, I guess I should say it this way, do we want to put a limit on the number of terms a chair can hold? Right. We can open the floor to discussion. Does anybody see any reason where we could, where it might be a good idea to limit the number of terms? And feel free to open it up in chat. We can do this over mic, discussion wise.
Chris, I think it would be a good idea to limit the amount of terms that a chair can serve, just to kind of spread out the opportunities for other faculty members who might want to serve as a chair on a board of a committee.
And that I think is a good point. That's sort of part of the reason I wanted to make that a possible thing to add to the charter. What if we were to do that, what do you think would be an appropriate limit? 2 years?
Yeah, 2 years is what I was thinking as well.
I was
Now,
thinking 3,
3?
but yes, I do baseball. 3 strikes and you're out.
Okay.
And you might want to quit earlier if you're burned out and want to
Right.
change.
Right, but
You know,
then that
no.
wouldn't be necessarily a term limit. That would be
No,
you just deciding, I don't want to do this anymore.
right.
But you might want to have a term limit again, just for the reason that, for instance, if we ever get the whole promotion and rank thing figured out,
Mhm.
having being the chair of a committee would probably get you more points for that than just being on the committee. So having more chairs is probably a good idea for that reason. Of course, the big strike for having a term limit would be if you're constantly changing chairs. The chair has to learn the new chair has to constantly learn everything, and by the time they've learned most of the stuff, oh, their term is over, and then we
Mhm.
have to start over again.
Fair point. 3 years sounds a little more reasonable with that.
Mhm.
And do we want to make it 3 years, or do we want to make it, say, 3 regular elections? Such as, when I say 3 regular elections, I mean September elections. For instance, my first term here wasn't the full year because I was taking over for someone. So do we want to make it 3 calendar years, 3 elections plus 3 years plus the serving of a partial year? How do we want to cut that off?
I'd like to say 3 consecutive years, full school years.
Okay, and then any extra time just will not
That's
count towards the
gravy.
term limit.
That's gravy. It wouldn't count.
All right, sort of like the Truman Rule.
Mhm.
All right, do I have a motion to have a three-term plus term limit on the chair? Actually, we should probably discuss one more thing. If somebody does chair that particular amount of time, will they be restricted from not being chair and then restricted from being nominated later on? Of course, that's assuming that that particular chair is in this committee for 4, 5, 6 years.
If a chair wants to accept a nomination to return for a 4th term, I think that's excellent.
All right.
And if the committee wants that same chair member for 4 years or more, seems
Mhm.
very reasonable.
All right.
I agree with that.
Okay. Well, let's do this. We'll start off with a motion to, let's start off with what we currently have. We will make a motion. Can I get a motion to not change the charter and not have a term limit? And if we fail that motion, then we'll try a motion on accepting a term limit. So don't feel free to vote yay or nay on this next one, and we'll just see which one has the most approval according to the group. So can I get a motion that we will not add a term limit to the charter?
I'm good with that.
And again, if you would put that in chat, and then can I have a second, and then we'll take a vote on that. Do I have a second? So the motion that we're currently voting on is no change to the charter. There will not be a term limit. If you don't want there to be a term limit, please say yay in the chat. If you do want there to be, if you don't approve of this and you want to consider a term limit, say nay. In the opinion of the chair, the nays have it. So we will now open the floor for a motion to have a term limit of 3 terms plus. 3 terms plus the completion of another term from another chair. Do I have such a motion?
Can I get a clarification?
Yes, please.
What do you mean by plus?
So for instance, right now I'm filling out Dorothy's term.
Okay, my thoughts were you were starting fresh and you were it for this year.
I am. It's just the question becomes basically, if we have a 3-term limit, I can run this time, I can run the next time, but there's a question if I could run another time after that, because I did fill out part of a term. And filling if I got
semester, Chris, last semester you filled out.
Yeah. So if I got elected, if I got elected this time, if I get elected next year and I get elected next year, I would actually serve 3.5 years.
Yeah.
So 3 full terms? Okay.
Yeah, that's way to word it. 3 full terms.
We have a motion for 3 full terms as our term limit. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you.
That's Jordan. I'll type it in.
All right. And
I clarified it. Good.
if you are in favor of 3 full terms as the term limit, please type in yay. 3 full consecutive terms. Yes. Please type in yay. In the opinion of the chair, the yeas have it. And we will add that to the charter. Hopefully I'll be able to make all these changes to the charter by the end of the week. Take a look at what else we have to cover in the charter. It's sort of tough flipping back and forth.
Mhm.
Shoot. And now I can't see the full screen. So I can't see what I'm sharing. Am I sharing anything at the moment?
No, just your
Just my face?
desktop and your image. Yes. Yes,
Okay.
sir.
There we go. That fixes it.
There we go.
No point in reviewing my face. I can't do anything about that. Okay, so we've gone over number 3. Review work delegated by the council and assign work to appropriate committees or members. We don't have any subcommittees at the moment. Receive and review reports on a monthly basis. Submit recommendations to appropriate council. Prepare monthly reports for appropriate council and review data sets. What the heck is sets? Assigned to the group for analysis, make recommendations that support database decision-making and so on. Anybody see any possible revisions that we need to make to the general guidelines? If not, moving on. Committee and council business. All procedures, rules for program proposals and channels for submission will be determined by vote of the committee council. All changes to procedures and forms will be submitted to constituencies for review and approval before implementation. Agenda items and related materials may be submitted by group members and non-group members to the chair liaison for consideration. They should be submitted at least 5 business days prior to the meeting by 5 p.m. And I will be then trying to get the agenda out to you on Friday, the Friday before the meeting. Meeting notices and tentative agenda will be distributed at least 3 business days in advance of the meeting. Technically, I guess that means I'm supposed to get it out by Wednesday, but I think most committees just get theirs out on the Friday before the committee meets. Is there any discussion on that point? Is there any objection for me getting the agenda out on Friday before the meeting?
I have no objection to Friday.
All right. If I do have an objection, please speak up. I definitely do not want to get these out. They're too late to be able to do anything with them. All right, since there are no objections, moving on. Minutes of proceedings. Minutes will be recorded for each meeting and provided in advance of the next meeting. You will need to do one thing about that in just a moment. And all action items must be completed in a timely manner, preferably by the established deadlines. Any adjustments that you see that need to be made to that? Hearing no adjustments, we will move on. For meetings, regular meetings will occur once per month. Special meetings as needed and defined by the chair. Hopefully that never happens. The first meeting of the academic year will be dedicated to orienting. Is that a word? Members. I was thinking orientating. Attendance at meetings. Basically, you're responsible to be here or at least get a proxy. Anybody who has 3 absences, including proxies, will be notified by the chair that we will need a replacement. If you aren't able to attend, please get a proxy. The proxy may not introduce new business. They cannot vote on anything other than old business. Basically, the idea is if you're a proxy, hopefully you will have been given information about the previous business and therefore will be informed enough about it to make a vote, but you might not know enough about the committee meetings, the committee structure to do new business. And here's where I have a question on whether a proxy or non-voting member can make a motion or a second. There's nothing in the charter that says a non-voting member can't make a motion. I think a non-voting member may be able to make a motion. They may be able to make a second, but they can't vote. proxies can't make a motion at all and can only vote on old business. Meetings will be open to all represented persons, beginning and end times, basically 3 o'clock on the second Monday of the month until 4 o'clock. Again, and end meetings on time. Quorum will be 50% plus one of the total current membership. Group will conduct meetings using the rules of order. In other words, me being a pain on being really, really formal. And decisions will be made based on a majority vote of those present. Any adjustments that you see need to be made to that part? And then this, let you read through that. I don't think we need to make really any adjustments to this. And then finally, annual evaluation process, past year's accomplishments of goals, committee council self-evaluation. I believe the only goal we really had sent from last year was to get more information on how to determine the viability of programs. And therefore we had a whole bunch, we had a few different guests come in and speak to that. I would be open to having one of our goals be at least a similar guest presentation over information on how to better determine the viability of our programs. I'd prefer it to be only once a semester, especially after we had so many presentations last year. Hopefully that gives us most of the information we need to know to much better handle the business of determining what new programs will be viable, what programs we need to change, which programs we need to cut. Hopefully that gives us the majority of the information we need. The meetings, the guest that we had last year. But I do see a possibility of adding similar guest, at least at most once a semester. Do I have any discussion on that idea of limiting the number of guests to once a semester? We don't. We can have 2 in a semester, and then one, and then the other semester just be on just general committee work.
I agree that we need to limit the number of guest speakers that we have during a semester. But I don't think we should have a guest speaker if it's not needed.
Right. And I'm not saying we have to get one every semester. I would just like to limit how many we get. Last year, I think we really, really needed it. Last year, we needed it because we had major questions on how we were supposed to determine the viability of things.
Right.
But now we know sort of what the general business environment of Central Arkansas is, thanks to the Chamber of Commerce and what was it, the AEDC, Economic Development Commission? I forget the exact name of it.
AIDC.
AIDC, thank you. AIDC. So we had that. So we got a general idea of the business environment. and Catherine, I'll get to you in just a moment. The general business environment, we're getting a whole lot more information on what the state views as being viable. So I think we're in a much better position now to determine the viability of programs. And therefore, I don't think we need as many guests this year as we did last year, but I wouldn't be against having guests, especially if, say, Dr. DePro thinks that there is a good reason for a guest. And if she can find great guests, I'm all for it. But I do want to leave us with enough time to actually work on our on the committee's business. Catherine, you have your hand raised?
Yes, sir. I proposed the idea of what if we did have the limit for guest speakers, but there's a contingency towards new members of the committee. Like, I'm just throwing out numbers. If more than 40% of our committee are new members to the committee, then we can go past the limitations of guest speakers just to help with their onboarding for the committee.
Right.
If that makes any sense.
That makes sense. We could make it less a firm rule and more of a general guideline that we're not going to add to the charter, and then make decisions based on it, but without having an actual restriction.
Sounds great to me. I do agree with the limitation on guest speakers.
Okay. In that case, I don't think we need to have a motion or vote on that.
Mhm.
Just a general discussion on as we go along to just make sure we don't have too many guests, and have just the guests that we absolutely need.
Mhm.
All right. It is now 4 o'clock. I think that's it for the charter. I will make the adjustments that we have for the charter. Let me take a look at one other thing. Let me go back to the agenda, see what we did and did not cover. Review 2021-22 outcomes. I think our big outcome was just getting more informed via those guests. Do you feel that those guests were really informative to what we're trying to do as the committee? This is just a general question. We don't have to take a vote on it.
Mhm.
Set goals for 2022-2023. I think we kind of sort of set one to limit the number of guests and go over committees. Go over committee work. I would like to make a goal to have each school to at least discuss going over a new possible program. You might not be able to come up with one for your particular school, but I'd like to at least have that discussion, see what programs we may be able to make. Do I have any other possible goals that we can do? If not, I can reopen. I can re-add this to the agenda next time. We don't have to finish up the goals right now, but if during the next month, you think of a goal that we should be trying to fulfill as a committee, we can discuss it then and add it to the October meeting. Next on the agenda is confirm the calendar. Everybody, we're really sort of stuck at 3 o'clock on Mondays on the second Monday of the month. Is there anybody who that might be a scheduling problem for?
Not this semester.
All right. Right, then the next set of items is questions and next steps. Do we have any questions today?
No.
All right, then the next is evaluation of what we went over. Do you see anything that we can improve today?
I think we're good.
Okay,
Stay within our time frame. Start on time, end on time. We're good.
right. And we are 4 minutes over. So if there are no points of business that the committee wants to go over, then without objection, the chair declares this meeting adjourned.
Okay. Thank you, Chris.
Thank you. See you next month.
Yes,
Thanks,
sir.
Chris.
Appreciate you.
Oh, and please feel free to talk to me on the mics. I mean, I do want to do votes in chat, but I feel kind of awkward when I'm the only one talking. So if you have anything, please bring it up on the mic. But I do want to do votes and mic to make it easier for Cammie to keep the
Thank you.
minutes.
See you next time.
See you next time.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.